Okay, good morning, you guys. Good morning, everybody on the recording, on live. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. Um, Welcome in. Today's a little bit more casual. It is Saturday, December 30th. We're almost at the end of 2023. Can you believe it? It's a little bit more chill today, okay? So this is the itinerary which we're going to go through today. We're going to start to bring everything together. We've been through a lot this past 2 days together. Maybe you have quite a bit of awareness now, right? You have quite a bit of like, holy moly, or like, um, some stuff could be coming up. Okay. So today we're going to bring it all together. Today's the being, the embodiment, the closing of the gap, the realizations. Okay. So we're also going to do a visualization. So I'm going to lead you through a visualization to meet that version of you who has these experiences in her 3D, who has these things in her physical world, okay? Because this is a secret to manifestation that is not actually commonly talked about. And then at the very end, I'm going to be sharing what's open for enrollment within Rise, okay? And then how you can continue to elevate with us as we move into 2024 if you feel called to, okay? So I hope you guys all did the vision board exercise. Did you guys do it? I hope you did. It's a really important piece. And if you didn't, that's okay. Just try to do it before tomorrow night, especially if you want to get in on some prizes, share it around, tag me. This is an integral piece of moving into 2024 because we must know what we want. Okay, we must know, and it doesn't have to be complete by any means. It's never complete. We are never complete. We are always wanting more. We are always wanting to be more, do more, have more. We're never going to be like, no, I'm just complete, So don't wait until it's complete. Just do it with like intention of what you would love to create and experience in 2024. And if you want to, like I mentioned on the replay page, get the family involved. This is so fun, right? And then you're holding each other accountable and they're like cheering you on. And when you're like, mom has to like focus right now because I'm moving towards this XYZ, they're like, okay, mom, go mom, right? So get them involved in the vision board. You could even do one for your personal self. And then you could do one with your family or together, whatever. The more that you can get them involved, the more people that are going in the same direction with the same similar intention, it's magic. It's absolutely magic. Okay. So again, those of you on live, I want to remind you to use the chat as much as you can, interact, just talk at me. So I'm just not talking at you. Okay. So when you were doing the vision boarding, how did it feel? Okay. How did it feel? What came up? Was there any resistance is another really good question. Was there any like, oh, that feels big, that feels scary, that feels like impossible, or like what would Aunt Susan say? Anything, like what came up for you when you're doing it? Or did it feel like freaking exciting? Like you're like, holy shit, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it. Or you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it right now, but I would love this, right? So I want to hear if you guys want to share, those of you that are on live, like just think about this and yeah, how did it feel? Okay. So today we're going to start to integrate. We're gonna start to embody this version of us. Okay, this is the secret to manifestation, like I had mentioned. Okay, so not many people talk about this. Awesome. It was exciting to dream and think about in pictures where I want to be. Yeah. And how it's going to feel, right? How it's going to feel. That's so powerful. I love that. So this is kind of a piece of manifestation. It's the embodiment that is kind of it's the secret that a lot of people don't fully understand, or they don't fully talk about. Okay. So let's talk about that. Okay, it was so exciting and so much fun. It was so neat to see how some of it changed from the last one I did. Yes, it's so cool. So cool when you take things off. You're like, check that one off, right? And what's going to happen when we check that one off? There's another thing to go in its place. We're constantly desiring more, right? It was fun. I did it without thinking too much. I was surprised how much light came through. Oh, it's so good. Yes, I think mine would look different. Yeah, even today. Exactly, right? I have mine as my desktop background, and it's so good. Like I log into my computer and I'm like, oh yeah, like it gets you into an energy, right? So yeah, and not overly thinking, I think, is a really big piece of that, because we can get too stuck in the logistics, especially if we tend to be somebody who is like a figuring it all out is our kind of default. Yeah, that's huge. Love that. Okay, desktop. Yeah, totally. So good. Okay, so here's the thing is nothing happens in the becoming. Okay, it happens in the being. So the sooner that we can realize that we already have or already are what we desire, the sooner we will be observing it in the 3D physical world. Okay, so who, like prior to Rise Academy, who's made a vision board in the past? I think we all have. Everyone's made a vision board. Especially, back in back in like, I almost said the 90s, but I don't think I was making vision boards in the 90s, but maybe you guys were. But scissors, magazines, paper, glue, and we have our little like collage vision board. So fun, right? So fun. We've made vision boards in the past. We know all about this. So normally, I mean, for my own perspective as well, and I've seen this with so many different people, is we kind of like put a bunch of pretty pictures on the board. We get so excited and we like hang it up on the wall and we like love it. And we look at it and we're like, oh yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait until that happens. We see it as if they are things in the future. You see that? We do that. So we see it as like, oh, I can't, this is something that like it's in the future. We look at it with a sense of longing and separation. Okay. And sometimes it works. Sometimes that like wishing, hoping, and being like, oh yeah, like I'm going to Greece, like it's coming, I know, that helps because it gets you in the energy of, but that's not how we quantum leap. That's not how we necessarily collapse time and do it in like a shorter span of time. So maybe we tell ourselves like one day I'm going to own a house in Costa Rica, one day, right? And sometimes, like I said, it does happen, right? Sometimes it does happen, but most of the time what does happen is that days will go by, weeks will go by, months go by, and we're still looking at the vision board with longing, right? With hoping and wishing and dreaming, and nothing changes. Okay, nothing changes. And then eventually we might forget that the vision board exists. Or maybe we find it in a drawer and we're like, what in the world was I thinking? Right? Have you done that before? You're like, wow, I was a little bit nuts that day, So that happens. And we now know why that is, right? We talked all about that on part 1 of this experience. We have so much, like so many beliefs, so many tendencies, so many things, so much baggage that is trying to kind of like hold us hostage. It's like our set point, that governor. Okay, so slowly what happens is our dreams and desires begin to kind of disappear. So we look at our board and we tell ourselves, I was crazy, like I don't know what I was thinking, right? And we continue to move through what we know. We continue to create what we know. And we tell ourselves, even, I've heard this before, vision boards don't work, right? You probably maybe even thought that, I'm not sure, maybe heard it before. Okay, so let me know if this is resonating. Have you done this before? Has this happened to you before? It's definitely happened to me. So have we allowed our dreams and desires to die because we've allowed our old beliefs and ideas to pull us back down? Oh yeah, right? Yes, 100%. Okay, so I like to think of this as like crabs in a bucket. One's trying to get out, he's almost out, and then the other crabs like pull him back down. Like that's how I kind of think of our mind sometimes, right? Like we're like, oh, almost at the elevator, and then the other one's like, no, you're not. There's Aunt Susan in there again with her strong beliefs that were really like ingrained in us from a small child. Okay, interesting. And those beliefs can be like, you're not good enough. You don't know enough. You're not strong enough. You've done this before and you failed. All of those things. Okay, so the question, do we want to continue on this way? as we move into 2024? Do we want to continue vision boarding in this way? Is this what we want to do with our dreams and desires and all the energy and effort and work that we put into being intentional and showing up and coming to this work, even coming to this this experience, this masterclass? No, like hell no, we don't want to do that. Nobody does. We don't want to do that. So it's now, this is our opportunity to choose again, okay, to shift and change our entire experience in 2024. All right, so I want you to, well, if you can have it available, take a look at the vision board you created. Take a look at it, right? It invokes a feeling within you. It makes you feel excited. It makes you feel a certain way, right? So there's a version of you that has those experiences in her physical world. That feeling that we feel when we look at that, that is a glimpse into the vibrational frequency that we need to arrive on and hold to attract those into our life. Do you feel that? Like, from where we are now, when we look at these experiences, these, you know, these material things, we look at them and we're like, oh, that is, it gives me goosebumps, right? It gives me a certain feeling in my body. I have butterflies. I have like this vibrational kind of like a tingling in my body when I think of those things. That is us shifting vibration. But what happens, we look at it, we get into that vibration, and then something happens, right? Life happens, or something, like somebody says something and we're like, back into the 3D. Okay, so this is where I think a lot of us hang out, and this is kind of like the staircase, right? This is the staircase. This is us going up and down the staircase a million times a day. Even it's exhausting to go to and back, like to there and back. Okay, so this is absolutely normal, and it takes, like, I honestly believe that it doesn't need to take time, but there needs to be that burning desire and that absolute, like I said yesterday, the consistent and persistent belief and faith that it's here. Okay, that's what we're closing the gap on today. So instead of looking at it from a place of longing and a place of separation and even a place of lack, we are looking at it as if it's already here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. So in a bit, I'm going to lead you through a visualization to meet the version of you, to get to know her in ways that you might not have before, so you can start today being her in a different way. Okay, so remember that we live in a vibrational universe. So everything, like attracts like, everything vibrates. Every thought has a vibration, every feeling, and they drive our actions. So if we are existing in the energy of that's not possible, or I don't know how, there's a separation, right? We're operating in lack. And what will we attract? We'll attract more of that, right? It's very like uncertain, like kind of muddy water feeling, right? Okay, more of I don't know, and more proof that it's not possible. That's really interesting, right? More proof that it's not possible, because what we focus on expands, period. So if we focus on what happened in the past, what we did before, what we didn't do before, what isn't working, we see proof of this in our 3D world, right? Has that happened to you where you're focused on that and you're like, see, I knew it wasn't working. See, that happens all the time, right? Okay, so instead of allowing our current 3D experience to dictate our vibration and like coming out of that vibration we feel and we kind of enter into when we get into the spirit, Bob used to call it getting into the spirit of this desire, of this dream. Instead of allowing, we're in the spirit and then we're back down, we're going to start to see how we can spend more time in that energy, in that higher vibrational frequency. Okay, so instead of just thinking of the end, for example, what we have on the vision board, instead of just looking at it and thinking of it, with the separation, it's in the future, there's a disconnect, we're going to start thinking from it. We're going to start developing a new model, a new idea, new program, whatever you want to call it, right? When we think from the end. So from this place, we originate new ideas. We are living in a higher vibration. We attract different experiences. We exist in the effortless way, right? We know that. We exist in spirit. So when we're thinking from the end, there is no questioning. There is no wondering. There is no wavering, right? Because we're thinking from the end. It's already here. It's already done. We're thinking from it. And we're existing in that vibrational frequency as that version of us. In that space, there's absolute certainty. It's absolute certainty. Yes or yes, it's here. It's yours. There's no wavering, right? It feels so good. So there's no grasping, there's no suffocating, and there's no needing. That's another big one. Because our tendency when we're looking at something, when we're looking to the end, or, you know, towards the end, whatever you want to say, looking at the vision board, there could also be this feeling of like, I need that to happen, right? I need that to happen. And nothing comes from needing. Nothing good comes from needing, right? It's all in the embodiment and the belief that it is here now. So those of you that are new here, you might be like, this is a totally different way of thinking. It's a totally different way of existing. It's totally, I don't know, like, I don't want to say it's backwards because I don't know which one's backwards, right? I actually believe the other way is backwards. So for me, it makes sense. Does it make sense for you guys? Like attracts like. You exist from there. Of course, what are you going to attract to you? So instead of that needing, right, we don't want to suffocate our desires. We want to move into the energy of gratitude. We don't need them because our life is okay. Like, we're doing all right. We're here. We're like able to be here on Zoom. We're able to feed our families. Like, but it would be nice to go to Greece. It would be nice to have a house and own a house in Costa Rica, right? These things would be really nice. So it's being able to exist in that frequency while we are grateful and so appreciative and loving and fully immersed in our 3D world. You see that kind of like connection? Instead of I live in my imagination and like, no, kids are screaming, nope, like doesn't affect me. I'm in my place, you know. It's finding the gratitude and that positivity within our 3D, within even like the perceived maybe chaos in 3D. It tends to not affect us, you know, as much when we are living from the end, because we are in an elevated state. We're in the spirit of our desire, of our dream. The 3D world, we can then, because again, what we focus on expands, we can find things to be grateful for, right? And that is something we're going to do in Q1 Leap as well, which we're going to talk more about. Okay, so that starts to shift everything. When we move out of requirement, out of like, I need this, that is lack, that is the belief that it's not here, right? That is the belief it's not here. And we move into this idea that it is here, right? Another thing is, we talked about this before, preference versus requirement. So instead of requiring something to be exactly that, we have a preference of like, I would like it to be like this, but it doesn't need to be exactly that, right? Because maybe I always say it's this or something better. It's this or something better. I am open, you know, we talked about this before, and I think it was in the Power of Awareness book by Neville Goddard. He talks about how there was somebody, one of his case studies, I think it was, that asked for part of his tuition for school to be paid for. And part of his tuition for school was paid for. Okay, when he could have asked for the whole tuition to be paid for. With that possibility that it would have been paid for. So I want us to think of that as, there is no limit to what we can create. There is no limit to what we can ask for. Okay. So just to keep that in mind, that, it's this or something better. We don't need to say oh, like this, I don't know if I'm asking for too much, or what is this person going to think? It's this or something better. It doesn't matter, right? Okay. So when we vision board, we dream, desire, we project, we get in the energy, we get in the spirit of it and think of our desires. There's a separation, right? There's lack, there's need. So when we think from it, there's completion, there's acceptance, there's receiving. There is no wavering. So this is the secret to manifestation. It's the embodiment of a new idea or belief. There is no needing, okay? It's the acceptance that the belief is already here. So you are her now. This is here now. The experiences you desire are here now. And it's up to us to become a vibrational match to them, right? Create the space for them to come in and embody them now, okay? So here's a piece, is we can convince ourselves of absolutely anything. We can convince ourselves of anything. So I want you to ask yourself, what am I convincing myself of now? What am I convincing myself of now? Am I convincing myself that money's hard to come by? Or am I convincing myself that, life is hard, or takes a lot of effort? What are we convincing ourselves of? We need to work hard. We need to, what is it? Because we're always convincing ourselves of something. Okay, we can convince ourselves of absolutely anything. So why not convince ourselves that our desire is here now, that our dream life is here now? Why not convince ourselves? And so in kind of like a piece of this is brainwashing ourselves into believing something else, right? And it, again, if you're new here, you might be like, you guys are crackers. You kind of lost it. No, we're not quite. It is a different way of existing. It's a different way of doing it, right? A different way of doing life. So those of you, that are resonating with this and you're like, wow, this is so interesting. And I see how it works. I now understand it intellectually. This is your opportunity to begin to try it out, to begin to operate and exist in this certain way, right? Because there's one thing, knowing something intellectually, and it's quite another thing to fully embody it and to be it. Okay. So, what are we convincing ourselves of? And why can't we convince ourselves that our desire is here now? So while we're driving say we're driving a vehicle that is less than ideal, and why don't we go into that said vehicle and, in our imagination, imagine we are driving our XYZ, that car that we really know would be comfortable, would be safe for our family, is what we desire. We're driving through town as if we are in that car, right? I have a friend who really wanted a Jeep, a new Jeep, and she was driving this beater car, and she was like, I'm going to convince myself that I'm already driving my Jeep. She went to the dealership, drove the Jeep for a test drive, felt it out. You got to test out the things, you guys, the things that are on your vision board. How can you test them out so that you know how they feel, right? So anyway, she goes to the dealership, she's driving the Jeep around, and the Jeep it's kind of like Toyota, kind of specifically the 4Runners. If you got a 4Runner, and you're waving at everybody with the 4Runner. Okay, so she's got her Jeep and she's driving it, or she's got this Jeep from the dealership. She's on test drive and she's like, this is my Jeep. But, I'm going through the Starbucks drive-through because that's what she would do. And she's like, this is how it would be. Got everything going on, waving to every Jeep that goes by, just loving her Jeep. Goes and takes it back to the dealership, and she's like, I'm going to see you soon. Gets back in her beater car and is driving around, and she's still waving at the Jeeps. She's like, I'm in my Jeep. This is the energy that we're in. I'm in my Jeep now. And so, the bridge of incidents happens. She stays in that energy, stays in the spirit of her desire, gets the Jeep, pays in full, She didn't know where the money was going to come from. It randomly came to her. Okay. Huge. And that is what we're talking about here. And so something else is, like I said, looking at the vision board, we need to, sometimes people are like, well, I'm not sure how it's going to feel when XYZ, right? It's so good. I'm not sure how, if we have any like wavering, how can we start to test drive those things now, right? Okay, because that's going to give us that ability to feel it on a deeper level and like something that's really, really real. Okay, so go test drive the car, go test drive the G-Wagon. They don't know how much money's in your bank account, right? Oh gosh. Okay, so we can convince ourselves of anything. We can convince ourselves that our beater car is our brand new Jeep. So why not? Why not? If that can help us to close the gap and feel good, right? At the end of the day, what does it do? It makes us feel good when we are convincing ourselves of a new idea. And to me, like, that's all that matters. Anything that feels good and like makes me feel a certain way, I'm all for it. Okay, because that is helping me to get in the spirit of my desire already being here. And that's the secret. That's the secret. Okay. So following that joy, following what feels good and doing more of that. And what happens is we shift our vibration. Once our vibration shifts, we shift the experiences we have. We shift the relationships. People start to feel it around us, and everyone, it's kind of like the game kind of moves around us accordingly in alignment with this new vibration. I don't know if you guys can hear, but there's like this giant rooster sitting on the fence right here. Can you go away? Are you the guy that wakes me up at 4? Oh my gosh, he's in the yard. What are you doing? Oh, hi, buddy. The dog's gonna come in, I hope. He's crowing at me. I wish I could show you guys this. He's looking at me in the window. Are you trying to get in here? Maybe I can show you. Hold on. I'm gonna show you. This is hilarious. He's there looking. Oh, you can see him. Gosh. I don't know if you can see that, but Gallos are not my forte. They're not my chosen animal. Oh man. Okay, so we get it now. We get it. We get how we can get into the energy, get into the spirit of our desire, of our desired experiences. We get how we can quantum leap and collapse time. So now we might see, and especially those of you that have tried this before or done this before, we might be able to see now that we've been wavering, kind of how we talked about yesterday. And so all it is awareness. And it's our opportunity to say, like, I give myself grace. I am so grateful for this awareness, and I'm ready to choose again. And that's all it comes down to. Honestly, that's all it comes down to, is because if we allow ourselves to like stop and be like, oh, well, I'm not good enough, I don't have time for this, or fill in the blank, it's that start-stop energy. And we're just, we can go back into what is comfortable, what we know, right? But honestly, all the way along forevermore, we will always need to choose. We will always be choosing again. Even if we've already done everything on our vision board here, we've got another vision board, we've got more desires, right? Okay, so the 3D, remember that the 3D experience is expired, right? It's old news. So if we get in the energy of the 3D and we stay there, we're going to continue to create. And so I'm not saying just like completely, I'm not grounded, not existing, not like being present. That's not what we're doing here. It's developing that ability to hold a different vibration, and it'll start to change us on the inside. It'll start to change and transform how we think, how we move, even how we take care of ourselves. And all of that impacts everyone around us. Okay, there's a piece that, we could feel like, oh, mom guilt, whatever. It's so opposite of mom guilt because it impacts everyone around us. Our kids feel it, right? We show up as a better mom because of it, a better spouse, everything. Okay. So there's a piece that we can utilize the law of assumption. This is another piece I wanted to mention before we move into the visualization. So law of assumption states that what we assume to be true will be our truth. Okay, so up until now, what are we assuming? What are we assuming? It's really easy for us to assume the worst. Okay, so maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you've done this before. Have you ever said, like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. I knew you were going to fall, or oh, I knew blah, blah, blah. This is us using the law of assumption against ourselves. So instead, how can we assume something that is in our favor? So this is us using manifestation and law of assumption. So how can we assume things, like looking at our vision board, assume that it's already here, assume that it's yes, so yes, it's ours, right? That's really powerful. And so let's move through a little short visualization. So I want you to, if you're in a safe place to do so, find a comfortable seat, get a pen and paper and keep it near you, because I love visualization for self-study. So answers will come, things will show up and you don't know where they come from sometimes. So anywho, I'm going to turn on some music and you guys will have to let me know if you hear me. I think it's music that's not copywritten. So those of you on the recording, you should be able to hear this. And if you can't, let me know right away. And then I can send you out a meditation or visualization. Okay. So give me one moment. I'm just going to share the computer audio. Okay, can you hear some music? You can hear me as well? Okay. My voice sounds maybe a little fuzzy or something. I kind of did a test run before this, but is it okay? It's okay. Okay. So when you're ready, find a comfortable seat. You can softly close the eyes. Just allow yourself to find stillness. Take a breath here. Exhale out the mouth. Roll your shoulders up and back a couple times. Just really allowing yourself a moment to settle, a moment to just be, a moment to just breathe. Take another breath here. It is now December 30th, 2024. An entire year has passed since you attended the Release to Receive 2023 event. Take a breath here. You have experienced everything you put on your vision board. You did it. Congratulations. How does it feel? How do you feel? Take a breath here. In your imagination, you're going to open your eyes. Where are you? You can look around. What do you see? From where you are sitting, you're going to stand up in your imagination. In your visualization, I want you to stand up And I want you to find your reflection. So maybe you walk over to a body of water, or if you are inside a building, maybe you find a mirror on the wall. Notice how you move. Notice how you feel. Notice what you see as you walk towards this reflection. You take a look at yourself in this reflection, and you notice some similarities. You are 1 year older. But you have transformed over this year. What you see there in your reflection affirms that this transformation wasn't just internal. You look different. Looking at yourself in this reflection, what do you see? You smile at yourself. Take a breath here. Take another breath as you look at yourself, observing yourself in the reflection, noticing how you're feeling. A whole year has passed. You've been through so many experiences. You have completely transformed your life. As you look at your reflection, you take one more breath and you feel such intense gratitude. You might even say thank you out loud to yourself. Thank you. I'm so grateful for everything I've experienced. I'm so grateful for this new awareness that I now have. I'm so proud of myself for how far I've come. Take a breath here. You slowly walk away from the reflection. Notice how you move, notice how you feel, notice where you are. You walk back towards where you were sitting down. And you take a seat. You put your hands on your legs. You take a breath. You feel such a relief. Take a breath here. And you softly close your eyes. Slowly returning back to December 30th, 2023, back into your current physical body. Take a breath here. And slowly, when you're ready, you can wiggle your toes and your fingers, come back into the body, open your eyes, and just take a moment to write down your experience. Write down what you saw, what you felt, how you moved, what you realized. How did it feel? So this version of us that we might have seen and experienced and felt in our 3D, in our fourth dimension, sorry, in our imagination, in that visualization, they require us to elevate. They require us to elevate. Okay. So they require us to elevate on the inside and the outside. So the outside shows us what's going on in the inside, right? I've heard from some people, and I myself used to be like this actually, until I realized what I was doing, that sometimes we say, oh, I don't care what I look like. You ever said that? I don't care what I wear, as long as my kids are dressed, as long as my kids have clothes, right? What is that telling us? What's on the inside? Right, and that's huge. What does that tell us about our self-worth, our beliefs about ourselves? Right? That version of us that we saw, that version of us that has these desires in their physical world, does she talk to herself like that? Does she, clothe herself like that, take care of herself like that? Does she put herself on the back burner all the time? Okay. So from here, we have a choice, right? We can choose to tell ourselves, convince ourselves that our standards have risen. We are no longer available for low vibe situations. We're no longer available for things that do not make us feel good. And there's a piece of that it could be, oh, that's selfish. That probably is like Uncle John telling you that, right? That's probably somebody outside of you that had influence over you when you were younger, that told you that made you believe that. You are worthy of the freaking best. We all are. We are worthy to only feel good, right? It's okay to feel in situations. It's okay to, have bad moments or, feel sad or feel emotions. It's totally fine. But when we have this different kind of like standard within ourselves of how we treat ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, again, it's like life is a game. Like the world moves around it, right? The world acts accordingly and delivers accordingly. So we take care of our vessel, right? This is our vessel. If we don't have our vessel, we don't have this life. We take care of our vessel, the ultimate care. We clothe it well. We dress accordingly. Like Bob Proctor, he has a whole seminar called You Were Born Rich. And it's really cool. He talks a lot about like wealth, but also just like a rich life. Sorry. So he had talked a lot about his, like the way we dress. And he used to say, I can't even remember exactly, but it was something like I've listened to it so many times that I can remember his voice in my head. But it was the piece of like him he like admired this guy who had like these really nice suits, and he had these like full-on suits, like dress suits, and he had a closet full of them. And Bob Proctor like came from absolutely like nothing. He was born I don't even remember, like 22 or something like that. And he always, he just wore what he wore, like a lot of us do, right? And his mentor, I think it was his mentor that was like, go and buy the suit. And he had one suit, right? And he had one suit at one point, and he would when you wear it, you guys kind of know what I'm feeling, or you can kind of feel what I'm talking about here. Sorry. When you are kind of like, when you feel good, when you feel that you look nice for yourself, I'm not saying go out and have a shopping spree, or you need to look a certain way, or you need to dress all glamorous by any means. But what I'm trying to say is when we feel good, we feel good. Our vibration is higher. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. Our standards have risen. Okay, we said a while ago about the underwear, right? We no longer have holes in our underwear. Okay, moms know that. It's so strange. Sometimes, like, you know, that used to be my reality. Maybe it's not yours, and that's okay. But at one point, that I was in such a dire state on the inside and the outside that I had holes in my underwear, and that wasn't important to me. Okay, but it's even those little things that all add up to this being in the spirit of this person, that version. Okay, so we embody this new version of us as we head into 2024. So this is the end of an entire year. It's an incredible opportunity to signify. I don't know if signify is the right word, but like, it's like the ending and closing of a chapter. It's like a symbolic time, right? The closing of a year, it's a symbol to close a chapter and step into a new version of us. The moment that that clock hits midnight, you know, on the tomorrow night, it's a new one. We've left the old tendencies. We've left the baggage. We've left what was. We can leave it behind, and we can even burn it. Like New Year's Eve, when you're having a fire, if you're not having a fire, now you are having a fire. You're gonna burn it, okay? Like energetically throw it into the fire. Whatever you need to do to release it, let it go, and like put your foot down. Okay, so remember though, it's really easy for us to talk about this and get all excited and be like in the energy of, in the spirit of, and then it's really easy for us to fall back into old habits. It's really easy for us to go back into old ways of thinking and manifest from there and tell us ourselves manifestation doesn't work, or I'm doing it right, or I'm not good enough, or blah, 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 right? So I want to share with you a couple opportunities for you to continue on elevating with us and rise in a second, okay? We are always, I wanted to just say this before I do, like we are always striving for more. We are like creative beings. We want to be, do, and have more, always. That's the human way. That is not selfish. That is not selfish. The moment we stop creating, we start to disintegrate. This is where depression comes from. It's stagnant energy in the body. I fully believe that, okay? It's because we don't have a feeling of creating, a feeling of purpose. And purpose is something we create. It's not something that the world gives us. It's something we create within us. It's the fire we create. Okay, so if we live in a circumstance where we're constantly being told, be happy with what you have, you should be grateful, like all of these things that are kind of like stomping out our fire, kind of tricky to allow that fire and to feed that fire, right? But we all have it. Every single human being has the desire to grow, be better, do better. But it's the situation that they're in or we're in that has stomped out most of their fire. But there's still embers burning, right? So think of that, right? Remember that. So when we check things off the vision board, we're going to have things that are going to go in their place, like I already said, right? Bigger, better, bolder desires and they're going to be coming from an elevated version of us, right? So that vision board that we're like, oh, I can't finish, it's not done yet. You need to finish because it's from a version of you right now. Like Kai said, I think it was Kai, like already it's different. Like today I already have something else to add, you know, but we can forever be adding. And that is okay, right? That is okay. Oh, here's the net. Okay, so now do you see how manifestation is transformation? Probably those of you that this is your first event within Rise, you might be like, wow, that's not what I was expecting. I teach manifestation a little bit differently, for sure. Okay, this is how manifestation actually is. It's transformation on the inside. It's an embodiment. It's an evolution from the inside, right? It's an elevation. So through the attainment of these desires and experiences, through the attainment of them, we become better versions of ourselves, right? We become elevated versions of ourselves, but it's not just when this happens, I will be an elevated version of me. No, it's the pursuit of it, right? It's the elevation that needs to come first. Remember, I used to tell you guys, or I used to say like a long time ago, I was like, When I am wealthy, will have so much impact. When I have, XYZ, I will have so much impact on my community. I will be able to do this and this and this. And then I realized that's backwards, just like we just said, right? When I have impact, when I show up as that version of me and embody it and fully be her now, that's when I have that impact. The money is a side benefit that comes as a side effect, right? To that impact. So it's not just through the attainment of the desires, it's actually through the transformation that happens on the way to the attainment of the desires. All right, so this is exciting, right? Impacting more people around us just through being us, just through being a better version of us, through elevating our own conscious awareness. So it's not just for us, it's for everyone around us. Okay, so it's for our family, it's for our friends, our community, the world as a whole, consciousness as a whole. Together we rise, right? Together we rise. So saying that, hey, Lynette there, as I share a couple courses or a couple, I don't know if I want to call them courses, more experiences that Rise has opened for enrollment, as I do, I want to hear from you guys that have been around for a little bit. Even if you haven't been around for a little bit, maybe you just know me for a while. I would love to hear from those of you that have been impacted by the work I do and any of my courses or programs, Rise Academy. I want you to share in the chat something that has stuck with you, like something that Rise Academy, some impact that we've had on you, and what you might say to somebody who's new here and considering becoming part of Rise Academy or community. Okay, so I would love to hear from you guys in the chat. As I go through, I have just a couple. I mean, honestly, I could share a few different things that we have coming 2024, but I myself find it a little bit overwhelming when I don't want to rant on for 20 minutes. So I'm just going to share a couple and then really quickly touch on two more things. Okay. You already know the first one. I've been talking about it over this whole 3 days, and already we have people that have joined the Q1 Leap group mastermind. So this is honestly, I feel like I was talking with some of you already, that this is kind of the secret sauce. This is, like we've been talking about, it's really easy to get in this energy and get so excited. We created the vision board. We're all amped up and excited. 2024 is coming. We're in this new energy. We are in the spirit of our new desire, our desired experience, this new version, this elevated version of us. And then life happens. And then we don't have a community around us. And then we don't have the support. And then our spouse kind of has his own ways. And then. So this is what Q1 Leap Group Mastermind is it's the community. It's the community space. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a few things that are included. And I mean, I could go on forever, but I'm just going to go relatively quick here. We have an opening ceremony. So within this, we have our goal setting, our proper goal setting. Okay, proper goal setting. Celebrating from the end, getting into the spirit of that energy of that desire, the embodiment of a new idea and that new identity. And I'm going to have some journal prompts for you to go through. Okay, this is just the live opening ceremony. You're going to get full access into proximity, which is our inner circle where I have weekly EFT tapping to release, to move stagnant energy, daily accountability within our group chat. We have moon circles, community, inspiration and support, of course. And then in there, I'm going to start building out our library of meditations and visualizations, because each of you are going to get a habit tracker, which has specific things that we want to do each and every day. And so we will be able to track them as we go through. And I think this is something that I'm really pumped about, because it's really easy for us to say something, but not actually do the things. So I'm really checking things off. So the habit tracker it's not an extra, but on there will be things like doing your morning visualization, your evening visualization, doing 5 minutes of journaling, really the things to keep us in that energy, right? To keep us vibrating at that frequency. Okay. We also have, like I mentioned already, our group chat. So back pocket coaching. So I said, this is the community like you crave. Inspiration, support, a safe space to be seen, heard, encouraged, top-notch accountability. We want to do weekly embodiment check-ins. And then we have a closing ceremony call as well. Okay, so this is kind of like, you know, get close. Let's do this together. High proximity, coaching support, but also accountability and community. So that's really, really big. So that's Q1 group mastermind, Q1 leap. So I've got it at $99 right now. Normally it's like $333. Okay, so until Sunday night, you can join at 99. Okay, so Rise Academy has a lot coming in 2024. And like I said, I could probably talk to you for the next half an hour about what we have going on, but I don't want to. So some of which is coming that I'm not aware of, right? And you guys that work close with me, you know what that's all about. I live in spirit and I really truly trust that everything is coming. And I'm kind of like, feel like I'm channeling most of the time. So some of these things that I am going to be offering in 2024, I don't actually know about yet, which is really exciting. So if you have loved these 3 days together and you feel like you want to really elevate, like you have this burning desire within you to do something different. If nothing changes, nothing changes. We want to grow, we want to rise, we want to quantum leap and drastically shift the experience in 2024. I really invite you to stick around. It's 11:11 right now where I am. Okay, so this next offering I want to share, I've never done before, and I priced it really super duper low, and it's for the whole year. Okay, it's your opportunity to hang out with me and be in everything. I call it the whole freaking safari. Instead of choosing your own adventure, it's the whole safari, okay? This is everything within Rise Academy, everything. I don't even know what that means yet, okay? So it's full access into everything. You have proximity, you have all 4 quarterly masterminds. You have every paid masterclass course experience, including Quantum Wealth and Rise Online, which I'm going to touch on in just a quick second. And then you also have early access into all in-person virtual events. Like, it's a big deal. And I price it super duper low. It's only $155 a month, $155 a month for the 12 months. Okay, so if that speaks to you, like all of these links are going to be in the email I send out on the replay page, or you can message me directly and we can have a conversation. I'm all for following your lead. I'm not here to convince you of anything at all. I'm here to hold space for you and to welcome you into stepping into this new level of you, this new elevated version, okay? So 2 last things I just want to say. We have Quantum Wealth, which is a money course starting in February, half off right now until the end of January. If you are somebody who knows you want to reprogram your money ideas, this is for you. Okay, it's only $333 right now. Rise Online is the second one, and this is a online automated business course. Okay, so I'm going to teach you about digital downloads and I'm going to teach you the logistics in this one. I actually have a masterclass coming in January called On Demand. So that's going to be 90 minutes of going through not just the logistical, mechanical, how to have an online business. It is the energetics as well. Okay, so that's all coming. And I just wanted to mention those to you. Again, just message me, Rise Online or Quantum Wealth or whatever you say, like the money course or whatever, if you want to talk more about it. Okay, you can also bundle those 2 together. Okay, you guys. Okay, so happy to be on live today. I encourage anyone who wants to work being fully embodied and living in their best beliefs while being centered and grounded, aligned and sync, inspired, positive, and living each day forward. Yes. My high vibes and manifestation magic. She teaches how anything is possible when we release, reject old paradigms, tendencies, and redefine, reimagine, and build from a place of clarity and persistence and consistency and more. Thank you. Yay, thanks, Linda. You're so sweet. Larissa, for me, it's a community support and knowing that there's others out there that are sharing similar experiences. They understand. If it's your first time, come to another, and it might not make 100% sense yet, but it will. I love that. It's totally true, right? Experiencing the change and witnessing it works. It's it witnessing it work in life is, and life is changing, is so empowering. I love how we can, like, when we can see it happening around us, that's where, like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Thank you. Through every experience, my awareness has grown so much. Things in myself I didn't even know I was blind to, now I'm more aware of, and it is so empowering. These experiences are the best to support, to continue to grow, to elevate, to learn about yourself and shift everything. The community that you become a part of is inspiring, supportive, and truly invaluable. Amazing. Okay, and awareness. Since Rise Academy, I've become so much more aware of my tendencies, reactions, and my thoughts. I've grown and learned so much about myself and how I have the power to change it. It's such a beautiful community of support and sharing. It's kind of addictive. I just want more. It feels amazing to be part of this community. Thank you guys for your sweet words. Oh, you're all amazing. Okay. You guys are all fantastic. And I'm so grateful that each and every one of you are here. I know almost, like, all of you almost are already in for Q1 Leap. I'm so excited. So again, thank you so much for being here. I hope this event was helpful. I hope now you see so clearly that, you know, I was creating from that place. I was creating, and that's why I continue to create more of the same experiences, why I continue to attract more of the same people, you know, fill in the blank. Now we can see, and we have a choice to make. And so you can also see, hopefully today, and that visualization was powerful to allow you to get into the spirit of who you are here to be. Okay, not becoming. It's not a future version of you. You have a choice to make. So the moment that clock hits midnight tomorrow night, you have burned everything. You have let go of everything that's not serving you. It's just gone. Like, that's the choice we get to make. And we can step into that new version of us. How does she exist? How does she feel? How does she think? How does she move? How does she dress? How does she take care of her body? Her almost like corpo, her vessel, right? How is she? And we can choose to be her. Okay. You guys are amazing. Does anyone have any questions before we log off? I know that we went a little bit over time. Thank you guys so much for being here. And again, I would love to connect through private message or through direct message. If anyone has anything that they want to ask me, or ask me about any courses or programs. Okay, you guys are good. Okay. It's so good to see you. You guys are amazing. Happy freaking new year. 2024 is right around the corner. I'm so excited, you guys. We have a big year coming. Okay, you guys are amazing. We'll see you next year. Yay. Okay, bye guys.